Okay.
So that's one of the things, John. I mean, you gotta get used to the rain in Medellin, because when it rains, the internet just gets shaky, a little bit faulty. So all of us we're used to it. So no worries about it. We totally get it.
Okay.
Let's do a very quick introduction before we get started. We finally have again Lucas. Lucas is in Miami. He's one of the original co-hosts, ex-soccer player, manager of athletes, and that's kind of like his firm. And I wanted to have him in this podcast because he's all about sports. And when I told him, hey, there's an American guy that started a stem cell company in Medellin, he's like, dude, I'm totally interested. I want to do it because I have a shit ton of questions for all his athletes, for his, I mean, we're all now plus 50, so we're getting into the zone where everything aches. So I want to do dips, and it hurts here. And I guess, I don't know if Luca suffers from knees, elbows, joints, whatever it is, but it's a great opportunity to actually have you here. So, John, first of all, how the hell did you end up in Medellin? Just tell us that story.
Yeah, well, sure. So I'm from, as I think I mentioned to you when we met, I'm from Boston originally, lived in New York for a long time. After school, went to school at UPenn, then moved to New York, and lived there. Started working in real estate finance for about 10 years, a little bit more. From there, got into e-commerce. As I was working at e-commerce, that one day it just occurred to me that I had geographic flexibility. I didn't have to live in Manhattan if I didn't want to anymore. Manhattan's great, but 10 years plus was enough for me, and started going around Latin America. I lived in Buenos Aires for a while. Again, just working in e-commerce. Lived there. I thought I had a pretty fun time. Went to Mexico City. Always planning on going back to the U.S. That was always my plan. But was in Mexico City for a while, and then Medellin. Actually, it's kind of wild. I actually came here to drink ayahuasca. If you're familiar with that at all.
Yeah, we are. But okay.
Okay, got you. That was my only plan. I was like, okay, I was living in Mexico. I'm gonna go to an ayahuasca retreat, and did that just outside of Medellin. Was incredible. And then I kept coming back to Medellin to drink more ayahuasca. And then after a few trips, I decided, I was like, oh, this is an interesting place. I'm going to spend 3 months here. That was the plan. That was in July 2021. It was a 3-month plan, and then that's how I got here. And then I could keep going, tell you kind of like how I started the clinic, or I can stop for now and let you.
No, you can't. Actually, we're very curious. I mean, you started ayahuasca, but then did you fall in love or something like that, or why did you decide? You know what, I should move to Medellin? Because ayahuasca is one thing, but then what thing led to the other that actually made you realize here's where I want to spend more of my time?
Got you. Yeah. Well, so initially it was only going to be for a few months, right? So I thought Medellin was just like an interesting place. From the ayahuasca, I knew some people who lived here. I was ready to leave Mexico City. I didn't want to stay that much longer, so I just thought it would be an interesting place to spend 3 months. That was the plan. And then from there, everything just started to fall into place little by little. I began to like living here. I really like kind of the Medellin, like the kind of the city in the jungle, kind of city in the mountains, just like the integration of the urban and nature. I really like. And then made some good friends here. Did not fall in love. Still waiting for that to happen. The falling in love part. But I was looking to wind down my e-commerce business, and right when that happened, I connected with a local doctor.
What was your e-commerce business about?
Oh yeah, sure. So it was very, it was just a brand. It was just a Shopify store, just a Shopify brand, just selling like watches and accessories, just very basic, e-commerce. Like that was the popular thing to do in New York in like the early 2010s, mid 2010s. There were a lot of just consumer internet brands. That's all. Not something I really wanted to do long term. And so I had been obsessed with health and wellness for probably 10 or 15 years before then. And then I connected with the doctor here in Medellin, and then initially everyone was just, I was kind of the health guy. People would ask me for health advice and whatnot, and then a lot of people started asking me about stem cells. So it's kind of wild. Everything just kind of naturally fell into place. We began speaking with a stem cell provider, a lab, and then we started treating people. We partnered with a lab. My friends were coming to me, looking for different treatments mainly for injuries, for joint injuries, and we just started very, very quietly, no advertising, no website in the beginning, just very organically, and then it's grown from there.
So basically, it started because you're a healthy guy. When I first met you, like, oh, this guy does exercise, he's fit and all. So all of your American friends started calling you like, hey, we heard that there are stem cells in Medellin because you can't get stem cells in the USA. And so basically, from your network, you found the opportunity and decided, well, if I have this big network outside of Colombia, all of my friends, which I grew up in New York and different parts of the world, you decided maybe I turn and scale up this business instead of going to this lab. Maybe I just start my own clinic, or well, you call it a clinic, or you call it what, a stem cell culture, and from there on, kind of like the idea started popping, right?
Yeah. Well, and actually, to give like a bit more detail, so I've broken both my wrists really badly playing lacrosse. One of them has been operated on. The other one got a stem cell treatment. So I broke about 7 or 8 years ago. I broke one of the wrists playing lacrosse, and then I just had this nagging pain like ever since that time. And then a few years ago, I just started looking around for alternative therapies. I actually did stem cells myself before I started the clinic. And then I got a stem cell treatment on my wrist, and then within about a month, the pain, like these little motions, like this used to hurt, tell me pain. So then I noticed, like after about a month, the pain had gone away, and then it was just like a light bulb. I was like, oh man, okay, wait, this could be something really interesting to go into. And then I did a lot of competitive research, and there are really only a couple of big clinics right now, and a bunch of like much smaller ones. And I was like, oh man, we could be like the next big clinic. And then from there, once I had the idea, I started talking about it, and then people started coming to me with the initial demand, saying, oh, like I'm interested, I'm interested in being one of your early patients.
So if Lucas has some sort of shoulder pain, where can he find you? Where does he go to? What's kind of like the approach?
Yeah.
I mean, do you have a website? I mean, how big, small, guys, are you? Give us kind of like the highlights.
Yeah, absolutely. So most people come to us like all kinds of things. The most common is for orthopedic injuries, especially knee and the shoulder. Just a lot of people have injuries or just wear and tear. We treat injuries to the spine, neurological conditions, aesthetic conditions for face and hair, a lot of different things. We have a website. Our company, Blue Phoenix, bluephoenix.health. If Lucas was interested, in his case, he could just send me a note. Be happy to tell him more. But we do like an initial screening process for people, just kind of giving them high-level overview of what everything entails. And then if someone's interested, they do a doctor's consultation, because not everybody who's interested is necessarily a good candidate. So we qualify them as a patient, and then after that, if they're interested, they'll move forward, and we get things going. But about 95% of the people are coming from the US. So it's very much like a US centric business as far as the clientele.
Lucas.
Yep.
You're on mute, Lucas.
John, so first of all, it's a pleasure to meet you, and congratulations on your amazing venture in Medellin. Let me ask you something. I have multiple questions. Like Hernan said, I mean, I'm in the sports industry. I manage soccer players. I myself, of course, have suffered a lot of injuries, back injuries, and joint pain, a lot of joint pain. Let me ask you something. The first thing is, I have one player in particular. His name is David Ospina. He's actually the goalkeeper of Atlético Nacional, the main team in Medellin. And he, about 2 years ago, he had a huge elbow injury, and he had to get elbow replacement. It was hell. Of course, he had two huge surgeries, and he's actually the first ever goalkeeper to keep on playing at a top level with a prosthesis. But he still feels a lot of pain certain times when he still falls on his elbow, whatever. Do you think this could be something that he could look at?
Yeah.
Mitigated?
Yeah, I think he'd be an interesting case, because obviously we can't. The stem cells, they're not going to act directly on like the inorganic tissue on the prosthesis, but he almost certainly has chronic inflammation in the elbow, because it's actually multiple traumas, right? Because he's had the injuries, and then the surgery itself is another trauma, right? And then he's got a foreign body in his arm, which could be sending inflammatory signals to the rest of his body. So yeah, so as far as like a very strong anti-inflammatory, yes, and like shutting down some of the signals, yes.
And one other thing, so that's fine. I would love to get him in contact with you. He's currently in Brazil. He plays tonight, so when he comes back through Hernan, and we can try and do this.
Yeah, I'll share the contact from John. Yeah. Perfect.
You were mentioning that most of your clients are from the US, so they come down to
95%.
95%. So how do you
95.
promote your business? Do you promote it through digital ads, or how do you do it? Like, and basically,
Yep.
I believe Shopify served for that purpose as well. You learned how to do ads on.
Yeah, the whole acquisition. That's very interesting.
Yeah, sure. So so in the beginning, like in the beginning, it was a couple years ago, it was very quiet, like purely word of mouth. And then from there, we started getting more referrals just from people that knew me, or people that had gotten a treatment and had a good experience, so they started sending us patients. Later on, then the next step, that there was a medical tourism agency that was sending us a bunch of leads, run by another American guy, and now more recently we do all of it in-house now. So it's digital acquisition mainly through Meta platform, Instagram and Facebook. And then, although it's really there's marketing and sales, because the average, it's a fairly high average ticket. It's not like we're selling like t-shirts for $50, right? Just like add to cart.
What's the average price? Because we want to understand everything. It is what, between 20,000 and 50,000, or what's kind of like the average ticket price?
Lower than that. So it's exactly 11,400 has been the average ticket in the last 2.5 years. Yeah. So the average procedure is actually is closer to 9,000 US, but then some people get more than one procedure.
Yeah, because they have to get X amount of cells. I mean, you get it kind of like in the millions, 2 million, 3 million stem cells. So a typical shot, it's what, 11,000. But if you want to double down, it's what, every single instance, it's like what, 5 or 10 grand.
Sure, and I actually misspoke. So it's I mixed up it's not 11,400, it's 14,100. That's exactly our average ticket. I'll call it 14,000. So a lot of people, like I mentioned, like to get a joint is usually 50 million cells, and then people come in. They don't just get the stem cell treatment. They usually come in for 5 days. So they're getting a stem cell treatment, exosome IVs, physical therapy, blood work panel, MRI, hotel stay. Like it's a whole package. So they stay with us Monday through Friday, and then it varies. Like some people might just get a joint that's usually 9,000 or 9,500, and then but a lot of people like to get a stem cell IV on top of that, which pushes the price closer to depending on the specifics, between 15 and 20,000. And then there's other procedures as well that can be more, that like the spine is the most complex procedure we do. That's got a higher price point, between 15 and 17,000. But it's really like there's the medical component at the center, and then there's kind of a hospitality component as well, because you've got people coming in, and then some of them are comfortable travelers, but like we've treated people that they've never been out of the country before, and so those people, like they need their hands held kind of throughout the trip for them to be comfortable. So it varies, but like hospitality is an important part as well.
So you offer the whole package. You take care of them. You get a place where to sleep. Where is actually the clinic located in Medellin?
Yeah. So I'm sure you know the like Centro Comercial El Tesoro.
Sure.
The mall there. Yeah. So there's the mall, and then we're in one of the medical towers that's attached. And then most of the patients stay in Novotel, which is attached to the mall. So super convenient. They stay there.
Super convenient.
They're there. Yeah.
Super convenient. Look at that.
The package includes the hospitality as well. The 14,000 includes the hotel or not?
Yes. Yeah, includes a hotel and like an airport pickup and drop off. Does not include airfare. That's their responsibility. But yeah, includes 6 nights.
This is super interesting because a few months ago we did a podcast with another friend of ours, and we were always saying, "Hey, what should be the clusters of Medellin?" And we always said like anything that's like longevity, cosmetics. That is definitely one of the most important hubs that we have to take advantage of as paisas in Medellin. But tell me the reason why stem cells in Medellin, not in Bogota, not in Barranquilla, not in Panama, not in Mexico. Why? Because you are not the first one. We actually did a podcast with Camilo Ospina, which I think you know, that's coming up in a few weeks, and afterwards it's going to be you. Why is Medellin a hub? What do we have that makes it attractive for someone like you to build a company and then get 95% of their clients from the U.S.?
Sure. So starting with the U.S., right, and what the landscape is like there. So a couple of things are going on. So in the U.S., there's no FDA approval for stem cell treatments. So there's limited availability in the U.S. Number two, one step is specifically prohibited, which is the cultivation and expansion of cells in a lab environment. That is permitted here. We do that here in Colombia, Mexico also. That step is prohibited in the United States. You have, third, at least traditionally, we use umbilical cord-derived stem cells. Traditionally in the United States, they've been using stem cells from bone marrow or adipose tissue. Like from the patient. So it's a different kind of procedure. So it's a little bit different type of medical tourism in that, like as I'm sure, like orthopedic surgery or cosmetic surgery, a lot of people travel to Medellin for those things. That's more about price. Whereas, for stem cell treatments, it's been more about actually getting like a more advanced treatment, which is pretty interesting in places like Panama, Colombia, Mexico. As far as like for me, why Medellin? Well, it's started, like I mentioned, it was ayahuasca that brought me here, right? But then one thing that works really well to our advantage is just Medellin has gotten so popular as a destination, right? For travel. So if I have this right, I think it just surpassed Cartagena within Colombia for the most popular travel. Yeah,
it did.
Yeah. So a lot of people want to come here, or like all of a sudden it's on a lot of people's radars, like Americans, people want to travel, like specifically like really like males, like men, like in their, I mean, really of all age groups. I was going to say 30s to 50s, but really of all age groups. And so because of that, like Medellin it's just so well placed as a medical tourism hub, because like there's so many people that want to come here anyway. So they come here for a week. It's kind of like a wellness vacation. They get to check out Medellin. They hang out here, get all their treatments, go back. And I don't know anybody that's visited that did the city. Zero, like of all the patients that have visited, they've all thought, they're like, oh wow, like really cool place, really interesting. Yeah.
Is it I'm gonna go do this stem cell procedure, and by the way, I'm gonna go to Medellin, or is it I'm gonna go to Medellin and oh, by the way, I'll do either or, it works, right?
So we've had both. Like, so we've had people like reach out and they say, I already have a trip to Medellin scheduled in a month or so, and then I've been looking into medical treatments and like, could you do something, for me now for that week? We've had that, and then we've had other people that they start with stem cells, and then they start looking around and they realize Medellin is like kind of a hub for that. So yeah, it's kind of happened both ways, but it's super important. Like I mean, for me, I think it's the best positioned city, like out of all of those. Like, there are people doing like medical tourism and in like Bogota, like even in Cali, certainly places in Mexico. But as far as the demand to travel, like I think Medellin seems to be number one, which is great. And they also, you might be aware that there's a brand new nonstop flight. So before it was only New York, Miami, Orlando, direct to Medellin. Recently, I think it was United. They added a nonstop from Houston, which is great.
Yeah.
So
they did. They did open that flight. So John, going a little bit to the technical side. So do you buy the umbilical cords from hospitals? Do you grow the stem cells after you get the umbilical cords? What's the mechanic, and are there enough umbilical cords in Medellin so that this business could, I don't know, scale to 5, 10, 20 times the current size it is?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, to your first question. So we've partnered with a stem cell lab here in Colombia. We found 7 that sell commercially. There aren't that many labs that do this. They're actually in charge of sourcing, so of actually getting the umbilical cords. They're all cords from healthy births, healthy C-section births. Those donations are then banked and cryopreserved with the lab. And then they handle the process of removing. It's only a small portion of the cord that you need to remove, like for a given treatment. It's like a very thin slice. And then they cultivate and expand the cells in the lab. It takes a few weeks, but you can create a lot of cells from a very small portion of the cord. As far like longer term plans, absolutely, I plan on building my own lab here in Colombia. That's a couple years away. But that's absolutely on my radar. The plan is to build the most advanced stem cell lab in the world. In the next few years. And then as far as the cords, so in almost all cases.
Wait, you said to build the most advanced lab in the world. What does that imply, or what does it look like? Because Lucas Dario, I think that's actually fascinating. Imagine Medellin being the hub that is currently being described, but building the most advanced lab for stem cells. You imagine the inflow of people just coming to Medellin. You will get everybody. Just picture the following. So when you have Peter Diamandis, when you have Brian Johnson, and all of them, they're talking about longevity, and then they realize, well, yeah, there's so many things you can fix with supplements, with red light therapy, by changing the food, but there's certain things that you're aging, inflammation, chronic pain, you can only do it with stem cells. Imagine that whole group of people and Silicon Valley elite just coming here because you're building that lab. I think, Lucas, that is one of the things that we have always tried to promote and talk about, because I think those are the real opportunities. I've had this argument always whenever we do the podcast. They say Medellin is Silicon Valley. I have never believed that. I think we're content creators, and I think this, what you are describing, is the real potential. I can just imagine, Lucas, 5, 6, 7 towers in El Tesoro, and just full, jam, packed people just like fixing and tuning themselves. How does that happen? Yeah.
I feel kind of stupid, to be honest. Like, Hernan, about 2 weeks ago, you and I and Gabi, we were talking about how about we put a wellness clinic here in Miami Beach, and we never think of doing this in Colombia because the ticket is too expensive, because we're only thinking on our local community. $11,000 for a local community. I mean, I don't know how many people can pay that in Colombia. That's probably, I don't know, less than 1%. And then comes an American guy, John Tarantino. He puts this clinic down in Medellin. Maybe if he would have told us right now, this is what I'm thinking of doing, we would have maybe thought to ourselves, this guy's crazy, man. He's putting this clinic, and he's showing the way. I mean, he's teaching us of things that you can do in Medellin, which are awesome. Lower rent, lower cost, lower label, huge margins,
and good technology.
And then you add the tourism part of the city, which is booming all over the world, and it's amazing, man. First of all, congratulations, and for us, Hernan, I'm down. I'm not doing the business in Miami Beach anymore with you. I'm hooking up with Tarantino and with Wilder, and I was thinking something else. By the way,
they should do some sort of joint venture. Yeah, the whole building and Tarantino, and they just hook up, and it's the whole wellness, and then you can throw the well, he already talked about ayahuasca, but you can throw a little bit of the mushrooms and everything. I think it's awesome. But before we change gears, again, I'm very curious of what the best lab for stem cells in the world looks like. What does it require? What kind of specialists, doctors, virology? What does it take?
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm still, and so right now it's just, it's an idea in my head. So I don't have a perfect answer, especially because this is going to be like a couple years out. But number one, very research heavy. So like we need basically like the very high level people in regenerative medicine, in stem cell medicine, scientists, doctors, really that are like on top of the latest research and really optimizing everything. Everything from like, it starts with the sourcing. So like when sourcing, securing the umbilical cords, right, for donation, making sure that you're getting the healthiest, right, and highest quality cords, number one, making sure you're storing them optimally. And then from there, like there are different nuances, there are different ways to produce cells. Like there are like something called hypoxic cells, normoxic cells. It just has to do with the oxygen environment in which the stem cells are created. There are different testing techniques, different cultivation techniques, and this will likely advance, very likely advance over time. So really what it is, it's, staying on top of the research, creating the most cutting edge, highest end stem cell lab possible in that point in time. And then also future proofing it, right? So that like, as there is more research, as there's more science, that like as our understanding improves of all of this stuff, just really staying at that, just like continuing to level up, right? Just like every month, every year, and staying, like as advanced and as possible. So yeah, it's very doable here. I think Medellin's the perfect place to do it.
Lucas, it took someone from outside to build what we already had because we were not aware that there was a market for it. See, that's the things that's why I actually like doing this podcast, because it's actually about figuring out the opportunity. And so I think that what you're doing is it's truly amazing. Talk a little bit about how big is Blue Horizon? What size? What does the team look like? Do you have your own building? Walk us through. Okay. Sure.
First, so Blue Phoenix, although I like Blue Horizon, but Blue Phoenix.
Blue Phoenix.
So no, we're a smaller kind of, you could say, like boutique clinic, just with very very big plans to expand. We have our office in Torre America 2, El Tesoro, over there. I'm the founder CEO of the company. We have just a small number. What do I have now? I've got 7 or 8 people working for me either full-time or very close to full-time, and then I have other doctors that work for me like on a prestación de servicio, like on a per procedure basis. And then what I'll be doing little by little, like we'll be bringing those doctors in-house as the volume justifies it. So we're still a smaller clinic that's growing, and then with very big plans to expand. And to your said, we don't have our own building yet, although I have a vision for that. Potentially, still coming together, but I think possibly a little bit outside of the city. I don't know yet. With like our own medical, like a just very advanced medical center. Yeah.
So maybe like in Zona Franca, like up near the airport where the new clinics are. That's what you're thinking, or what?
Could be, or I really like Alto de las Palmas. I think could be a really interesting area as well. But by the airport is could be good too. Like Rio Negro.
John, and are you currently raising capital? I mean, it's private. What are you thinking of? Like, how do you scale it up? I mean, is it just you? Do you have founding partners? How do you make this thing go?
Yeah, sure. So as of right now, it's just me. So I'm the 100% owner of the company. There's actually two corporate entities. There's a Colombian SAS, and then there's a US C corp.
Yeah.
Now, I am going so. Right now, I'm really focused on two things. One is bringing in new patients into the clinic, and then the other, I might have mentioned to you before. Yes, I'm going to be raising some capital for the company to really grow. Although I'm actually kind of revisiting that process now and kind of rethinking just the goals for the raise as because just as we've signed up more patients, it's like I'm just focused on bringing money into the company right now. And as we've gotten more patients recently, that's kind of that's changed my point of view on the fundraise.
Because you're self-funding. Yeah,
I've been self-funded entirely from the beginning, just me. Yeah.
That's probably the best way to go always. And so you know what, Lucas, it definitely makes a ton of sense that we actually see the Wilder and John together, because Wilder has kind of like the whole overall arching structure where he can get you a building, he can get you the setup. I mean, his whole idea of wellness, but he also has this big of opportunity of scaling up. I'm sure that stem cells and the lab, they don't scale up to open them in different parts of the world. You can just have one big hub here, but he definitely has the firepower and the logistics to build it. And I just think it would be something like a match in heaven if you two guys figure out a way to work, because you have something that is also very important because of your e-commerce experience, which is how do you build the funnel? And I actually think, Lucas, this is where you always have struggle, because you have his wife is one of the top models, and she has
read my mind.
2 million followers. But always, how does he convert all of that following into a product? And so I don't know. It starts to look like something that you could do together. Tell us a little bit about like when you're reaching out or figuring out how to bring clients. Do you tell them a story? Is it just an ad on Instagram, on Facebook? How does it work? And what's kind of like the average customer acquisition cost to bring someone to pay you $14,000? I mean, because we're digital nerds, especially Dario. So we like kind of exploring the detail, because I think that's where we really are an expert and have an edge.
Yeah, sure. And it's really two processes too, because there's the lead gen, right? Through the Meta platform, just getting leads, and then they get into, then there's a sales funnel as well. Right? So that there's the marketing funnel, the sales funnel. The sales part includes a doctor's consultation and a closing call. So it's pretty involved, right? Like along the way, because like I said, it's not like selling a t-shirt or a watch online. It's people, they're coming into Medellin. They're taking a week off really from their life, right? To come down to us, that they're spending a lot of money. So it often it's multiple touch points, to get them through the marketing and then the sales funnel. As far as the ads that we run, so the ones that have been doing best recently are the video ads. So the videos have been doing better than the statics, than just the static photo ads, especially the ones that are personal. So we're going to start running a lot more. We've been recording patient testimonials. So just people talking about their own experience. That's what they really resonate with that. It's like another American person. They're like, oh, he's kind of like me, talks about his experience in Colombia. So those ads have been doing the best for us lately. Although the important thing is really just coming up with new ad creative really every week, and just kind of testing, running little tests, seeing what works, because you never know. I tell you now, right? So like right now, the video ads are doing better than the statics. We might release a static that we think is just very average. We put it out there, and then for whatever reason, we're getting leads at half the cost as one of the video ads, and we don't really know why, and you don't really know until you put it out there. Once it's out there, once it's doing well in terms of cost per lead, right? Then we divert more resources towards that ad. Now, as far as the cost for acquisition, and it's varied quite a bit since we've started. but we're looking at around, so between 1,000,
Yeah.
like 1,000 and 1,500 per, but for an average ticket of 14,000.
Yeah, Lucas,
So
and that's where and that's where the whole trick is. You got to know how to do the ads and know that the cost of acquisition is going to cost you probably 10% of the final sale, 10 or 15%. But that's where you have to be a real expert, because it's a pricey item or ticket. But yeah, so it all falls in place. Your e-commerce experience doing that, that's very interesting. And how many patients do you get on a monthly basis? Are you always full, or you got to kind of like queue them up and say, hey, I can't receive you this week because we're full?
Yeah, sure. And we're continuing kind of to scale up right now. Right now, so it's going to sound like, remember that with every patient, it's actually pretty involved, right? So it's not like you just come in and, we inject them and then they go. Like we spend, it's really 2 to 3 hours a day with the patient, with each patient, like when they come in, to see us, between the stem cells, exosomes, all the complementary stuff. Sometimes there's a bit of hospitality involved as well, right? So really, like right now, what we're working, so we can treat 6 to 7 patients. 7 might be pushing it a little bit, but like per week on that, which is more than it sounds. I mean, it's like, because it's we're spending a lot of time with each one, so we're kind of working towards that. Although this is just as I think about the bigger plan is so much bigger, right? I mean, so working towards that 6 or 7 a week. But then what the biggest clinic that I know of, like, services about 25 patients a week. That's the biggest one.
A week.
Wow. Yeah, 25 a week. Like we're a fraction of that.
And where is this?
So the 2 big clinics, I don't really want to say them by name, but there's one in Panama and one here in Colombia. Yeah, those are
the one in Colombia. Wow.
The one in Panama is where Mel Gibson's dad got his treatment. There's a funny story. Mel Gibson's dad is like 85 or 90, broke his hip, and then he flew him down to Panama, got stem cells, and I think, like, I don't know, 3 weeks later he was chasing around the nurses.
Because I think he got probably so the erectile treatment is really popular. So you got direct stem cell injection. I think he got that one. I think he talked about it on Joe Rogan. And that's like a very effective natural way to heal that. But also that, like, that Panama clinic, from what I understand, their average ticket is more like 35,000, which is like the kind of, they were the first ones. That's the kind of premium you can charge if you're at that level. Like, I see us definitely, I don't know if we'll be that high anytime soon. I don't know if I want to be just yet. But we'll be, I think the average ticket will likely push more towards closer to 20,000, up from 14, like over the next 12, 18 months. And then we're actually about to open a new space, but it's like a mid-sized space. And then I'm already thinking ahead. I'm already thinking a year and a half ahead to this big complex in, maybe Tesoro, maybe a little bit outside the city, where we can service. I mean, I'm thinking, but between 25, 50 patients a week. That's bigger than anybody. Like that's
we
a
have
lot.
an ongoing idea that I don't think I'm allowed to speak of it, but I think your boutique fits perfectly into and it's with Wilde Hernan. I'll let you know off cameras, because I think if it happens, it's a perfect match and it's a perfect fit, and it's close by El Tesoro, by the way. So I think we could do something together. I'll let you know shortly when I have the phones and everything. I'll let you know. And let me ask you something more medically or technically speaking, because a lot of my athletes go through PRP when they get muscle injuries or ACL injuries while they're recovering. How different is one to the other? Obviously, one's, I don't know, a shot of PRP can be $500 or whatever around there.
Sure. Yeah. So PRP is a very legit treatment. You probably know. I mean, that's from the patient's own blood, right? They take their blood, spin it in a centrifuge, separate the platelets, right, and then inject those the plasma right into the site of injury. Very legitimate treatment. Yeah, more cost effective for sure. Stem cells are. I would advise, I mean, if the injury, if it's severe enough and the patient has the means, stem cells are a much stronger treatment. But like PRP is also very, very legit. And so for someone, not quite ready to do stem cells, or maybe, it's a little bit too much money, then it can be a, very simple treatment. Yeah.
And one more question. When my son and my daughter were born, I remember I got the umbilical cord stem cells, and they're in a bank somewhere. I don't even know where. I pay some money for that annually or whatever. With this new tech and advances, I believe that that is obsolete. I could just get rid of that, or is it different?
I would hold on to it. The thing is, like, the way that we work, so we use these are what's called allogenic treatments, right? So the donor and the recipient and the patient are different people. Now, the reason it works is because the umbilical cord tissue, it doesn't have what's called an HLA signature, or like it doesn't have an identity, in other words. So these are it's like a universal donor, so to speak. Whereas if you were to get tissue, like if you were to get some other type of tissue, like a liver transplant or something, you would have to very likely take immunosuppressive drug because your body recognizes that like as an organ from somebody else. Whereas that's not the case with the umbilical cord tissue. It has the identity neither of the child nor the mom. So a universal donor, which is why patients can accept that treatment. Yeah, without rejection. Yeah. That being said, like you've banked your own cords. I would hold on to them. Okay. Like I don't. Yeah. I just think that's still like a very good thing to have. You've got the whole cord like at your disposal. So yeah, as long as it's not brutally expensive or something, I would hold on.
Yeah, it's not. I think I prepaid like for 5 years or 10 years. I don't even remember.
Yeah. John, is the limiting factor to grow to, I don't know, 10x your current business? Is it marketing dollars to bring more clients, or is it just like doing the logistics? Let's say, for example, you had the money to do, I don't know, a Joe Rogan ad, which is $500,000. Sure. I bet you the inbound would be just crazy. I mean, a single episode would just get you a ton of clients. So is it logistics, or is it marketing dollars for you to just blow the thing?
A little of both, but it starts with the marketing dollars. That's the first thing. Like we don't have like that really big marketing budget. We've never had. Again, because this was all self-funded. Like I haven't taken a dollar in any form from anybody. So like we've been very deliberate, and like that, there's ups and downs, positives and negatives to that, right? Because on the negative, like as opposed to the one big large clinic in Colombia, they raised $2.5 million 8 years ago pre-launch, right? Mm-hmm. And so whatever that is in today's dollars, I don't know, but more than 2.5. And so for me, we've had to grow very deliberately. The positive is that I can control everything. So like I don't have to, really be influenced by someone else's vision or someone else's plans or anything like that. The logistics, like we can do logistics very well for call it a modest number of patients. Absolutely. Like when you get above, say, 10 patients a week, you've got like a new logistical challenge. And then when you get above, you've got like another level at about 20 patients a week. So it's very much, you can figure it out. Like we had to figure out treating 2 patients a week. Initially, we figure out the logistics, right? For that, we had to start somewhere. And then, but it's really just a matter of more staff and just better organization with the logistics. It's highly doable. It's highly doable.
Staff here and here, I mean, and it's easy to get people here in Medellin. You have plenty of doctors and staff that help you with the logistics.
Yeah, well, so what's interesting about Medellin, right? So at the high end, like at the kind of let's call it the top 5%, like the medical personnel here are really good. They're
Yeah.
really good. Like at the right. So which is very helpful. So yeah, so like as long as you're getting like the highest quality people, there's a very good population of doctors and medical personnel. Yeah.
There's a thing that most people, I mean, if it's an American or someone from abroad that listens to the podcast, I lived for the past 12 years in San Francisco, and I've never canceled my private insurance, because whenever I got sick in San Francisco or when I lived in Miami, I grabbed the plane and flew back, because I just prefer the treatment and the doctors and the knowledge of the doctors in Medellin than the ones in the US. I'm not saying that they're bad, and when they're like super specialized, they're top of their game, but it just feels good, and they're just, like you said, very, very professional and very good. Very good.
Yep. Yeah. And then also too, I found amongst the doctors, especially, very high level of English, which is very important, because really all of our patients are foreigners for the most part. And so, so yeah, that's the requirement at our company as well. So very high level of English, and yeah, they're just a lot of good medical personnel here. Let's see, one challenge has been, that specifically in regenerative medicine, in things like stem cells, like relatively newer therapies, there are not as many people that are as experienced in that. That's true everywhere in the world. But so we have to do a little bit of digging to find people like with the right experience. But I've got a really good team that I'm very happy with, and we keep kind of adding to it slowly. And then I have another person that not a medical, without a medical background, who does she does logistics. So she does like all of the planning and coordination, like more operations, which is very helpful and necessary. Yeah.
Well, Dario, this is what I've been telling you all along. This is the type of clusters, businesses, ideas that we need to multiply. And this is actually because it's a 15,000 to 25,000 ticket item, and it's all money from international people. So I think we should focus, and this is one of the tenets that we should actually amplify. And that's why I wanted to do the podcast with you, John, because immediately you caught my attention. Like, you know what, we need to talk about this. So if people want to find you, do they just go to Blue Phoenix? You're obviously going to give us your Instagram, LinkedIn, or whatever it is, but what's the best place to reach out to you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. So I tell people always, start at the website, just because there's a lot of information on there about the company, about different kinds of stem cell treatments. It's bluephoenix.health is the site, the URL. Instagram is also a good place to check out. A lot of people prefer to start there, and that's actually, it's the same. It's bluephoenix.health is our @ for the Instagram. So those are two really good places. And then it's also easy to connect with us, schedule a call, fill out your information on the site. I also welcome people to, I love talking about health stuff. So like, I welcome people to reach out to me if they have questions. I'm just, Instagram, John S. Tarantino, as well. So like really any of those places are great places to start. Yeah,
John, the two most typical procedures are what? People, when they need stem cells, usually what are the main parts of the body that require stem cells? What's the most typical case?
Yeah, number one is joints. So joint treatments, specifically knee and the shoulder. Just tons of people with torn, like torn meniscus, dislocated shoulders, things like that. That's number one. Number two is an IV, which is a very different kind of treatment, because with all the other treatments, they're local, and we're just trying to heal that tissue, like the shoulder, the knee. With the IV, that's systemic, right? So it's a systemic treatment. The cells are circulating throughout your body. They're living cells. That can be used to treat things like chronically elevated blood pressure, multiple sclerosis. Some people use it for anti-aging. Like we've got some younger patients, early 30s, they come in. They do that every year. Just really strong anti-inflammatory for the body. I do it every year myself as well.
Lucas,
Yeah.
Lucas, were you aware of that one? IV for anti-aging? Have you done that?
I haven't done it. I need that. But I was actually scrolling through your Instagram, through the Blue Phoenix Instagram, and I see you have hair regrowth treatments.
Yeah.
We might need those as well, Hernan.
Yeah,
But what is this? Is that part of the stem cell or treatment, or is that something different?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's stem cells. So stem cells, they can work so for someone like you, that could work very well because you still have a lot of hair. If you think about it. Whereas what stem cells are not good at.
You think so, but it's part of the.
Yeah. Okay. Well, from what I can tell through the screen, yeah. But if you were if you were completely bald, I would tell you no. We'd turn you away.
Okay.
Because what stem cells are not good at, they're not good at creating something from nothing. So if similarly somebody has their meniscus removed in a surgery, they can't regrow your meniscus. There's nothing to work from. Whereas if you've got thinning hair, or if you've got damage or some degradation to the cartilage, absolutely the stem cells can help heal and regenerate that tissue, but they need something to work with.
And so this the regrowth of the hair treatment, is it topical? It's topical. It's like a cream or something, or do you inject it as well?
Injection. So it would be multiple injection points in the scalp with more concentration where you've got more thinning.
That's amazing. That I need to look at.
Where's the booking up? We need to book the appointment. What's the link?
Bluephoenix.health,
my friend.
Yeah. Bluephoenix.health. We've got a bunch of links on there, or just reach out to me directly as well. Is totally fine for you guys.
I definitely will. I definitely will. Dude, this is amazing. Tarantino, nothing to do with Quentin. Just that's your last name and that's it.
He's I actually learned this relatively recently. He actually is a cousin.
No.
Yeah, well, it's not so he is my second cousin, I think. Grandfather's cousin's grandson. I learned that a few years ago. So yeah, it's not a very common name. We're all related, all the Tarantinos somehow. Yeah,
definitely. Lucas, I don't know. Any last questions or Dario for John?
I'm good. I'm
good too.
I just need the contacts and we're good. And I'll let you know soon.
I'm gonna give it to you. Okay. I'll share it with you.
Pleasure to meet you, John. Hopefully,
John, very cool, man.
Very cool.
Yeah, this was great. No, I appreciate it. Great to be on here.
We're gonna stop recording, but don't hang up.
Okay.
Right.